Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another sustainability talk. And I'm super excited today because today I am going to present someone to you that I happened to meet just by. Somebody will maybe say by chance. I think we agree to that it wasn't just by chance, but I met this beautiful, beautiful woman at the KLM Crown Lunch in Amsterdam. And in a few minutes, we just connected. And after that, we have just deepened the relationship. We have connected. And I thought, I really want to introduce this wonderful human being to my audience, to my followers. And I do know that the work that Saskia is doing is so important for all of you to know about. And maybe you see, there is an opportunity for me to break through on certain elements. So Saskia Geras van Houten is a Dutch clinical and organizational psychologist. She works both in her own clinical practice, but she's also working with larger organizations where she works with leaders, helping them to upgrade their impact. And wow, if we could just upgrade impact of some leaders, the world would be a better place. That's for sure. Another thing that she's doing, and I just love this, she is literally beautifying the brain. And we could all do a bit of that in our brain. Now, the other thing I want to share with you is that she's also the published author of the book Perfect. And this is a book about having a more optimistic self-image. And currently, she is writing her second book. And this is the topic that we're going to kind of delve in on today. And that is how to improve the level of happiness in your life. So, Saskia, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here, Rita. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is such a pleasure. I've been really looking forward to this.
Me too. Me too. I'm
Yeah,
so excited.
yes. And I have to say, I mean, when I met you in Amsterdam and was like, I remember I saw you sitting there and was thinking, oh my God, I love her dress. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm thinking, I have only like 5 minutes before my plane leaves, so I have to go. So I didn't say anything. And then you showed
I
up.
came up, and the funny thing was, I told you there and then, I believe that I set my intention that morning, and I said, today I would love to connect with somebody that I don't know yet. And, I had this chit and chat because I brought my little dog, so that, always makes people ask. And so I ran into some people, and then you literally had 5 minutes because you had a plane to catch, obviously. And then you said, oh, please connect to me on LinkedIn and then we can talk further. And then I thought, whoa, how magical does life work? Does the universe work? Because I set this intention and I was literally connected to you through LinkedIn after that. So this goes to show that if you are on the lookout for positive things, they will happen. Miracles will happen in your life. I'm so
Oh.
convinced of that.
They will,
Yeah.
and what a blessing, because we have been able to dive in our conversation and realize we have so many things in common.
We have so many similarities. Yeah,
It's
both in our personal lives and in the work that we do. So that was, yeah,
absolutely,
just
absolutely. So I'm so happy to now be able to introduce you to the community
thank
of
you.
my sustainability followers, and talk a bit about happiness. And I'm curious, could you tell us a bit more about what is your angle to happiness?
Well, my angle to happiness is I specialize in positive psychology, and positive psychology is if you have the traditional psychology, then we work with getting rid of a problem, basically. So you have psychopathology, mental illnesses. So that could be an eating disorder, that could be depression, that could be an anxiety disorder, and the traditional psychological field aims to get rid of that. Now, in positive psychology, we like to see that as weeding your garden. So maybe you're lucky enough to have a garden. And then if you have a garden, you obviously have weed, you know? So then you can go about trying to get rid of all the weed in your garden. Well, first of all, that doesn't make the process any nicer, because you're angry because you don't like this weed to be there, and it grows back really rapidly, and it takes a lot of effort, and you're constantly focused on the things that you do not want to have. But let's say, for the sake of discussion, that you manage to get rid of all the weed, of course. Now you have a weedless garden, but that doesn't mean that you have a nice garden, because you will have to put the extra effort in to having a nice garden. You will have to plant trees. You will have to cultivate the flowers. Maybe you would like to have grass in it. Maybe you have children, so you want to have a swing or a slide. In my case, I would love to have herbs in my garden so that I can use them for cooking. So it takes an active effort to have some sense of well-being in your life. And this is what positive psychology is about. So instead of focusing on eliminating the bad things, we tend to look at how can we amplify, how can we increase the things that we do like. Because, there's always... I don't know if I can use this word, but shitty things that need to be done. You need to do the laundry. You need to have these meetings that you don't like. You need to deal with these colleagues that you don't want to. You need to deal with your own insecurities, for doing stuff. And then my mission is to happify our lives. So not just to beautify the brain, but also because that's the nice thing about the brain. We can. It's not like the color of your eyes, so that it's set for the rest of your life. Brain is like muscle tissue, you can train it and you can optimize it in the direction that you want. So it begins with designing your ideal garden, to elaborate on that metaphor a little bit more. And then, it's getting into action, buckling up and really doing the work.
Yeah. I hear that you're calling it happify.
Happify. Yeah, well, it's a verb. It's a verb that I came up with myself, because I think that you can really increase. I think that happiness can be a choice. It's not the result of anything that you have. There was this scientific research some time that was between three groups. There was this group of people who had won the lottery. There was this group of people who were left paralyzed or partially paralyzed because they were in an accident or they had some illness. And there was a group who had neither of those two. So just the common people, Yeah. So they didn't have this fantastic lottery winning, nor did they have the tragedy. Now my question to you is, which group do you think reported themselves as being happiest of those three groups?
I think that what pops up for me based on my own experience is probably those who are paralyzed, those who have experienced great adversity.
Exactly. The group that reported themselves as being the happiest were the ones who had gone through the adversity. And this is because they were so much more appreciative of the things that they still had, that they still could do. And if we were to run a survey, and if we would ask people, what do you think that would make you the happiest in your life? There's three common things that we collectively think make us happy. It's being rich. That's number one. If I only would have $1 million, if I could only have a turnover of apparently, the point up until which you really become happier with your money is the income of $70,000 a year. So if you're lower than 70,000, then it will actually increase your level of happiness. But each dollar, euro, krona after that amount doesn't really intensify your level of happiness. So they were happy with the things they had. The group that reported as being the least happy
Hmm.
were the ones who had won the lottery. So not the people who had had neither one of them, but the people who had won the lottery. They thought, well, now everything is gonna be, So the top three
Mm.
things are being happy, being pretty, and being famous. Whereas the people who have those things,
Yeah.
actually, they are not that pretty because they think then things will come towards me. Whereas being happy in life, as I said, it can be a choice. So it's about appreciating what you have in the here and now and trying to make more of that, of course, because this is our human nature. We always want to evolve, we always want to develop, we always want to
Mm.
enhance our situation. Yeah, so but that
Yeah.
was a really funny
Yeah.
finding.
Yeah, and I we've heard this before, if you're also looking at those who won the lottery, how fast they become literally poorer than who what they were
Sure.
before they won the
Yeah, yeah,
lottery, and how they
yeah.
self-sabotage, and how they're like, it's interesting. um and also, when, again, going back to your word happify, for me that is so strong, because it goes back to my understanding of, we are the generators of our experiences. So it comes from the inside more than on the outside. So we generate
Exactly.
either misery or we generate happiness. So we can happify something.
Exactly.
So how do you do
Yeah,
it?
you can have well, there's a number of ways, of course, in which you do it, but it's all about dedicated action. So one of the things that we have in positive psychology is if you come up with this plan, with this ideal garden that you would want to have, which of course is a metaphor for your ideal life. But as soon as you have this design, and there's no good and bad in this, if you want to drive a Porsche, if you want to have $1 billion, or if you just want to go through life never combing your hair, walking barefoot, and never wearing a bra, everything is good.
Yeah.
So, but it's your ideal life, and then it's taking small steps toward reaching that life. And it begins with focusing your attention on the things that you do want to have. You're most probably familiar with the phenomenon that if you're considering of buying a certain car, all of a sudden you see this car driving everywhere, or you see the adverts of the car. This typically happened to me when I wanted to get pregnant. All of a sudden I only
Yes.
saw adverts of baby bottles, strollers. I only saw pregnant women everywhere. And so you focus your attention on the things that you will want to have. So if you want to be happier,
Mm.
it's as simple as focusing your attention on the things that make you happy, and
Mm.
not the things that you will have. I will only be happy when I lose these 10 pounds, when I get this job, when I get this partner. No, what is here in the here and now? And one of the
Yeah.
exercises, maybe we could do an exercise that would be nice.
Yeah. What I want to do, I also want to just to ask the listeners, like, how many of you, or you can just put yes in the chat, feel that you're saying to yourself, I'll be happier when,
Oh yeah.
or when this happens, then this is going to happen. Just like say yes in the chat, because one of the things that we experience is that we have a tendency to think that I'll be happy when, again, lose the weight, when I have this, when I have that, is a very common thing. And I'm just curious about the listeners, how many of them recognize this
Yeah, me
syndrome
too.
that we have.
Yeah. Like the carrot on a stick, that we're always, it keeps us in motion. It keeps us running after the stick. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
be
So,
curious to hear
an
as well.
exercise, bring to the exercise. Should people have a pen and paper?
Yes. Well, yeah, that's good because, well, that's good for two reasons. First of all, literally have pen and paper, because writing as opposed to typing reaches another part of the brain. So it goes more into depth. So the exercise we're going to do is a gratitude exercise. So I want to encourage everybody that is doing this exercise right now to do this every night, right before you go to bed
Yeah.
or right before you go to sleep, because you can do it in bed as well. Because it even, going to sleep feeling grateful even improves the quality of your sleep. So you have more in depth. We need 7.5 hours of sleep because we sleep in 90-minute sleep cycles, and we need 5 of those. 5 times 90 minutes is 7.5 hours. First 3 cycles are there to restore your body of the use that you've been making of it, and the last 2 sleep cycles are there to restore your brain. So it's cleaning your
Interesting.
brain. It's beautifying your brain actually. So if you get less than 7.5 hours of sleep, you will find yourself being more stressed. And if you do this gratitude exercise, we see that the quality of these 2 last sleep cycles improves. You
Yeah.
have your REM sleep, your rapid eye movement, and you process things. So you'll have a better night. So if you'll only do it for this, then it will be good.
Yeah.
But if you write it down, so literally with a pen and paper, it goes to a different part of your brain. Second thing why I would like to encourage our audience to write this down is if you do this every day and you have this day that you're down and out. You're tired, you had a quarrel with your partner, the weather is not nice, you didn't get the job that you liked, then this is a great book to grab and read all the things that you do have in life. So it's a great reminder, So this in itself, this little tiny piece of jewelry that you have here
Mm.
brings you back to everything that you can be grateful for, that you can acknowledge. So that's a good
Yeah.
amplifier of your
It's
happiness.
so it's so interesting you share that because yesterday that happened that I had a client who just was curious as to what do I do. So I said, okay, I can show you. So I brought up I do the gratitude exercise as well in the morning, and I just started to read out loud to her. And the funny things that happened was that as I was reading it, I could feel my body like, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
Exactly.
I kind of forgot about all these things. And I felt so happy that afterwards I said to her, thank you so much for gifting me with that question because I
Wow.
was like, oh, I felt so good. So it's
Yeah.
so powerful.
So it elevates your mood. And there was this other funny scientific research. We psychologists, we have the kind of nasty habit to call you in for research, but then we're going to do something different than what we say we're going to do. So here was a group as well. They were doing, I believe, a mathematical test. I'm not really sure. But before they had to do the test, they had to tick a box saying, I feel lucky in life. Things fall my way. Things are rigged in my favor. Or they could say, no, nothing good ever happens to me. I never win the lottery. I never have a good vibe in my life. And then they hid 20 euro bills in this room where the test was taking place. And what they found is that the people who reported themselves as being luckier, in fact, had higher chances of finding these 20 euro notes, even though they weren't aware of the fact that they were hidden. So they weren't informed that there was some scavenger hunt or so. So
Yeah.
this was really funny. So
Yeah.
if you prepare your brain to being grateful, if you prepare, that this is what you're going to do right before you fall asleep, you will have to report these 3 things that you're grateful for, then you will be more appreciative during the day. So you will be on the lookout.
Mm.
It's like, I know it's there, I know there's things to be grateful for, but I'm so curious where they are. So it's not just, oh, will there be anything to be grateful for, but that they're there. And then there's 3 things, of course, to be grateful for. There's this perfect day that's always perfect, like your birthday, or the sunny day on the beach when you have a holiday. That's always nice. Then there is the average day when things turned out better than you thought. So you brought an umbrella, but it didn't rain, or somebody else gave you the right of way when you didn't have the right of way, or this simple things. You had a delicious soup. And then the third reason, of course, is if there's adversity, you can also be grateful for the fact that this is only in your work and not in your personal life. Or if you had a quarrel with this colleague, you can be grateful for the fact that you don't have their character, or that you are paralyzed, but you can still speak. So there's several ways of being grateful. But
Yeah.
so I'm hoping they have the pen and paper. Would you do me the honor and doing this exercise with me? Could you
Yeah,
could, could we do it?
of
Okay,
course.
because
Let's go all in.
It's two parts. It's two parts. So the first part is think of something in your life currently, big or small, that you are grateful for. So
Yeah. So, what just came to mind right now is I'm so grateful for my granddaughter,
for your
and
granddaughter.
she's a bonus granddaughter. And I'm just so grateful. It just really, I do write a lot about how grateful I am for that. But she has really reminded me of the beauty of life after I lost my son. And she's like waking me up every morning. And it's so that's a big gratitude. That is not one of the small things in life, but I would definitely say that that
Okay,
is showing
so
up as very strong.
that is wonderful, of course, to have a bonus granddaughter who wakes you up every morning, and even after losing your son Benjamin, that you have this lively, vibrant little girl in your life who's so full of zest. I'm assuming.
Indeed.
Um, so that's part one of the exercise. What are you grateful for? Part two of the exercise that is really relevant to do as well is how come that you have this in your life? So what is your active participation in the fact that this is the case for you?
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful question. And it really took me back right now. The reason why I have her in my life was that I said yes many years ago to the invitation of bringing her mom in to work with my son. Even I thought that, oh, nobody else is going to look after my son except myself. But I realized that this had to happen. And
So you have a good eye for finding special people.
I absolutely, yes.
So this is the second part that is essential in this exercise, that you give yourself a compliment. So what you did actually now is, and we are a bit too modest because you said, I invited her mom, and then, I had to kind of amplify it a little bit. But, so your special skill is that
Mm,
you find special people in your life.
I do.
So the fact that the second part of the exercise is has a double meaning. First of all, you give yourself a compliment,
Mm,
which is a virtual hug, actually.
mm,
If I
mm,
work with my team, when we see each other, we literally hug. But if we
mm.
have an online meeting and we cannot hug, we shower each other with compliments. So we just say, "Oh, what I appreciate in you is that you always bring the nice tea to work." For instance, this is what one of
Yeah,
my team members does. She has a special skill of finding nice tea flavors.
love that.
And the second part, so it amplifies your feeling of happiness, thinking
Mm,
about, yeah, well, I am pretty good at finding special people. This is right, because I think nobody, what is it? Marianne Williamson says it so beautifully. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. And especially
so
us
true.
women, we have the tendency to do this.
Oh,
So
yeah.
to see, okay, but I have this special ability to find special people in my life.
Mm,
You think of you become less dependent on other people's compliments. But secondly, it also activates your happifying skill, because you think, hey, this is what I can do. I am able to find special people. Ta-da! So tomorrow, I will be on the lookout for somebody special here because this is what I do good. This is what I do well. I'm good at this. I'm the finding special people expert.
Wow,
So
this
this,
is so, I have to just say that even going through this now, this is so powerful because I resonate with that. I am really good at
yeah, you
finding the
are.
people
Yeah,
and,
I know. In the ground lounge.
oh, this is cool. Bring it on. Right.
So
Okay.
you see how this works? So this
Mm,
is one simple exercise that you could do every day. And the funny thing is that, what we see in happifying your life, sharing is also something, it makes people feel better. There was this one research that we also had. There was this, I believe it was a bakery. I'm not sure, but I believe it was a bakery. And the team, they weren't really working well together. So what did the owner of the shop think of? He thought, okay, every day you as a team can give away one cake to one person who comes here in the shop, just one cake. So what happened? First of all, the team got to work together because they had to decide amongst each other, who are we going to give the cake? So it was this finding this special person skill that you have as well. So they kind of liked it together, of course, to do that. Then secondly, the giving was a nice act to do that. The people receiving the cake, because it wasn't somebody who said, I need a birthday cake, okay, you'll get it for free. No, it was somebody who was buying a bread and they said, you get a cake as well. So they felt really special and really treated. And the bystanders also liked it because it's also nice to witness somebody else being showered with kindness, being showered with, nice words, with warm hugs. So in the end, the bakery benefited it as well because more people came to that shop because they heard that this was what was going on. So you're not only, because I believe in positive psychology and in manifesting and in neuroplasticity, because this is what I do. We train the brain. As said, your brain is not like the color of your eyes. It's not set for the rest of your life. You can augment it. But when I strongly believe that if you do something that is good for you, it works. But if you do something that is good for the community, it works even better. So by knowing that, hey, I'm a special person finder, you will also have other people benefiting from this skill because they will feel special. Because if you find them,
yeah.
they have to be special because this is your skill, a special person finder. So, you see how this builds on top of this. So lucky clients that you have, they're all special
They
because
are.
you're a special person finder and they work with you. You found them. So, it
That's
says
very true.
everything about them.
They are unique. They're absolutely unique. Could you just kind of give the one, two, three? I just want to remind them again of the first step. You're starting with the gratefulness. Could you just do the one and the two and the three, just very quickly?
It's just three things that you want to be grateful for. Do them at the end of the day, right before you go to bed, because it's better to be grateful at the end of the day, because then you look out during the day for the things that you're having and start your morning with an intention. How I want this day to be. This is another exercise we could do in another episode, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
If you say, I want today to be warm, and you come in this nasty meeting, then you remind yourself, but I wanted today to be warm. So how can I make this nasty meeting warmer?
Exactly.
So but we'll do another episode on
Yeah.
this. So 3 things to be grateful for
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Write them down with pen and paper in your journal, have them by your bedside table.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 is, what is your active contribution to the fact that you're having this in your life? How come that you have this in your life? And 3, see the special skill, see the thing that you have. What does it say about you?
I love this. I love this. And again, I want to ask the audience, how many of you have this kind of ritual, gratitude ritual? Because I know it's quite popular, and I think some of them have maybe we started and we forget it because it just it's a trending thing, and it's like we wanted to become a part of who we are as a human being. I love also what Jim Quick is talking about is by taking the sovereignty back in your life. And this is about how you start the morning by doing this before you check emails, before you do
Oh,
anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because how many of us is this? It's the first thing we do in the morning, without even saying hello to your partner, if you're lucky
Exactly.
enough to have one. But we'll just check the mail or check the news or whatever. Yes,
Exactly.
I totally agree with him to have
Yeah,
this because your brain is still in the alpha wave, so you're more susceptible to.
you are.
What I'm also curious to know in the chat is everybody who really did the exercise, what is your special skill? So please let me know, what did you find about yourself? Shower me with all these special gifts that you have. I would love to read that.
Yeah, fantastic. My goodness, we could go on forever and ever and
We
ever. And
could.
and I would love, anyone again, either you've been watching this live or you're watching the replay. Just let us know if you want us to have another round on another topic. And
Yes,
we might then invite in some of you to be participating more,
that would
so
be
being
cool.
on the Zoom call directly, and we live stream as well, so I would love to hear that. So where do they really get hold of you? How can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, of course, Saskia Gerard. Well, you see it now. They can find me on my Instagram account. That's psycholoog. It's in Dutch, unfortunately, and then underscore Saskia. I'm quite active in my Instagram account, and I have my own website, of course, saskiagerard.nl.
So
So
I'm
they
going
can.
to share all these details in the chat afterwards, so
Yes.
they, we can have all the links. I'm also curious, can you just share a bit about what you're doing? So beside writing a book, being on television in the Netherlands a lot, and being the big advisor, so for us normal human beings, how can we work with you?
How can you work with? Well, I have my clinical practice. I do Instagram courses where we can do this kind of exercise. So it's a couple of weeks on end. So if you follow me on my Instagram account, you will see the offerings coming by. I do intense one-on-one sessions, but that's just only year programs.
Yeah.
So I really want to work with people who feel that they are pushing the next level but can't really break through. And I really do the mastermind classes of people who have already done some work
Yeah.
and then want to, really reach the business class. Actually, that's what I say. You want to live the business class life. We're going to upgrade to the suite or to the business class instead of the normal hotel room or the normal average seat.
Absolutely.
So people who want to do that, then they can have this year, and then we see each other every month, and then we have 2 weeks, or that's 5 days, one-on-one, where we're gonna really have the breakthroughs.
Love that. Love that. Love that. And again, I just want to share with everyone. So when I met you in the KLM lounge, you were on your way to your second home in Mallorca. And it's this kind of, we both get to experience living our life very
Like
rich
digital
and
nomad.
free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we're rich and free, rich in more than just the monetary way, because we're
Yeah.
rich monetary as well, but also in we are free spirits, and we get to
Yeah.
divide our time. So if I work with you for 1 year, we have 1 week in your home country and 1 week here in Mallorca in my and we'll do some hiking and some sailing, and we do other stuff while you're
Oh,
here. Yeah.
love that.
So
Love
yeah,
that. Fantastic.
it's
Thank you so much
Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure. I totally happified my day by doing this recording with you. It was really nice.
Me too. Me too. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who was participating, listen
For
in.
watching.
Yeah. And we want you to just put your comments in, connect with either one of us. And I look forward to connecting with the audience again on the next sustainability talk. And until then, have a lovely day.
Until then, bye.
Bye.